Hello, my name is Starlight. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and I'm reaching out to all of you beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight will be, and I hope you are being kind to yourself and be mindful of how you treat other people, like your family, friends, and people out in the community, out in the public. It's a very this is, I think, the high peak stress time of the year during Christmas because of many things. But I do love you. My heart is in the right place. I'm here to help out and to be that change in the world that we need to see. And not that I have arrived yet. No, I'm working on myself to be that change. So anyway, I do love all of you, and you could give this video a thumbs up. You could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, don't forget, you can leave me a message down below, beep, beep, beep. And you can also, don't forget this notification bell, ding, ding, ding. And you can also share my videos with your family, friends, and some sheep. And I'm just trying to think of the animals when Jesus was born. Yeah. So, let's see, also some sheep, and we're just gonna say a camel. Not that the camel was there. I'm not sure if a camel was there or not, but that's to me the reason why I would celebrate Christmas, is to celebrate Jesus, and all that Jesus has done in my life and so many others, So anyway, besides that is also, you could check out my playlist and check out my Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman Starlight. I love you so much. So here we go. Let's get on with the new topic for today. And, I am working on another project, right now, and that's why I decided, yeah, this is a great topic to talk about. So, I am so excited. We're going to be having a full moon soon. So, and we just had the 12/12 portal. So, there's a lot going on with this energy going right now at this time of year. So, put your seatbelts on. So anyway, besides that is, because I'm working on this project I've been working on for a while now, is, we have been lied to. Not just me and you, but our ancestors have been lied to throughout history, from the beginning, way in the time, a long time ago, in the beginning of time. And those lies have traveled through generation after generation, just like celebrating Christmas and, where did the Easter Bunny come from, and all these, these lies. Why do we keep on repeating all this stuff anyway, really? I mean, like, and then, what, on that note, I do have to just put this out. This is a freebie. So there's like some people that are sleeping, like they're not consciously awake or something. They function every day. They go to work, they have families. They are out in your public, they drive cars, they walk around and hike, and they're sleeping. Now, there's people that go to church. They go to the church, they talk to people in the church, they sit in the pews, but they're sleeping. The pastor could preach and have a great message, but it never goes, it goes in and out, and these people, this is how they lock us in, is because there's people that are sleeping, and then there's people that are waking up. People that are waking up to the lies that we've been fed our whole existence. And the truth will set you free, but it's going to freaking piss you off big time. And it will happen over and over again the more you learn on how many times we've been lied to, and how this whole system is set up with, the matrix and, society, how they've been trying to control us and to brainwash us through different ways and devices, in society, in our world here, in the society, like movies and, the news and all this stuff. So we need to break free. And what it is, those ones that are sleeping are the ones that are keeping everybody locked in and all these lies, because now nobody wants to let go of like celebrating about Santa Claus, because there's so many people that are sleeping that believe in it because they're not awake. They're not outside of the box yet. They're inside the box, and that's exactly how the society and the government and the ones that are running the world have set this whole thing up. And it's all because of, the devil is really the one that's, and that's where it all streams down to, is, with that, where the devil has been able to tap into people and have them do this to control people, to control us, and to lie and manipulate people. And that was the whole plan, is to try to pull people away from God, or away from Jesus, and put all this stuff out there to deceive people in a trap, to trap them in this box, and to keep them in this box and keep them blind, and keep them, where they're lied to, and just keep on feeding them the lies. And those people that are in these boxes, they're the ones that are keeping people and their family and loved ones into these traditions, celebrating a Christmas with Santa Claus, and all that was a lie. But then, because these are your families and these are your friends and relatives that, you continue to keep on recycling this bullshit that we really need to let go. It's not right for the children. And then then your children are going to go and repeat the same thing, and I have to say, my daughter and my son, their kids know that Santa Claus is a fraud. And that's because I had to go through it when my kids were like 3 and 5. I poured my heart. It was so painful for me to do that, but I needed to do that. I felt guilty because those are the only lies I was telling my kids, is about the holidays, and I felt guilty and I felt bad, so if you're not feeling guilty and bad about lying to your children about Santa Claus and about the Easter Bunny, it's that because you're in the box. You haven't woken up to the real truth and what is really going on behind that curtain. Did you ever watch, the cartoon with Wizard of Oz? What was going on behind the curtain? It was just a short little man. She was afraid of who was behind that. And this is the way the Matrix is that, a lot of people, they've been programmed and lied to, that, they'd rather hear a lie than the truth. But the truth will set you free, and it will piss you off first. So I wanted to start off with that, and then I'm going to work my way to, do you trust these people? And it starts off, the way this whole system works is the school system. So we're going to start with the school system. And I am so grateful. I got to, my son, he was the only one. I didn't have my daughter around 11, 12 years old. She ended up living with her father. But with my son, he went through public school, and then he went to, at the same church, the first church that I went to that was still a cult church. Then he went to that church to be schooled, because they were trying to, help me out and get my kids out of public school, because they understood, the churches knew, and the churches know, that, the children are being lied to and being programmed through this system. And on that note is, before I get too carried away, then my son got homeschooled. Now I'm going to go back to the beginning with the school system. And I'm not here to beat up the teachers. Now, just like with the teachers, when they become a teacher, they got to go through certain training and programs, to be that teacher. And they got these guidelines that they got to stay into, and that they're not supposed to break those guidelines, or they could lose their job, because they are, they're under this program. So they are programmed, to be, and, that they don't have a freedom really to really express themselves like some of those teachers. There's some excellent teachers out there, don't get me wrong. They really want to help the kids out, and they take these positions because they do know some of the truths out in the world. And what it is, though, is when those teachers verbally try to, in a sneaky way, tell the truth to the students, if they get caught and the student goes home and tells his parents about the things, she's not going to write this stuff, or the teacher is not going to write this stuff down. They're going to verbally say stuff to your children to help them out, to free them from these lies that they're being programmed to believe in the school system. And it's no different than the way that doctors have been programmed and taught, and trained to be. It's the same thing, it's the same thing, but a little different, because a teacher is going to learn to educate the children, where a doctor has been programmed, to think and believe a certain way on how, to help his patients or her patients out by the program that they've been programmed and taught to believe. So, so there are some teachers that use wisdom and their intuition to figure out with the students, and depending on the grade level, to helping these kids out. But some of those kids will go home and have conversations with their parents, and then if their parents find out, if their parents are sleeping, and they find out that, a child, because there's going to be some of those children that are old souls, that they've been here many times before, and they could be super smart because of their birthday and where they, how they came here. They could come home and, have conversations with their parents, because their parents might really want good education for their kids. They might really care about their kids. Not saying that they don't, but they could be in a box, they could be in a box, and they, so they're not awake and aware of really what the truth is. It's only because what they've been told by their parents that they believe, and it's not their parents' fault for teaching them what they taught them, because that's what their ancestors, back there taught their family. So they've been programmed and conditioned to believe those same lies that lock people up in a box. So then they just believe all that shit that they've been told their whole life, and they don't know how to think outside the box. They've been taught, like, oh, don't listen to those kind of people there, and so, and they believe those lies, and so they're trapped until, they have to be the ones to free themselves out. They free themselves out of the box. They have to be brave enough to question things, ask them, to really study and analyze what's really going on in their life, and ask, does this make any sense? Have you ever, and that's my whole entire life, I never could make sense of how anything was being run. So it's the government first, that, because that's how the school system is out there. And if you don't know this, when you hand your children over to the school, you're kind of signing your children to the government. And actually, I got to write another thing on here. If I remember that, is now I already talked about the school system. And so where should we, now I'm going to talk about the military people. They have been lied to. The Army, the Navy, the Marines, the Air Force, they've been deceived. They've been lied to. And I know a lot of people are throwing stuff at Starlight. You could throw it all you want. I'm here because they have been lied to. Many people have lost their lives because of the war is inside of us, and I know a lot of you are not going to get that, and I can't explain this because I got so many other things I got to talk to on this video, is, to get teenagers, 18 years old, to go to the school system. See, the government allows that in the school system, to bring the military people in, to take your children and to put them out there, out to and fight in a war. And these poor kids, they have been deceived and lied to. They didn't, they're too young. I don't believe in that anyway, any war. I'm all about peace. I don't know. Are you, a lot of people think, but Starlight, we got to have them because, and it's fear. See, they do that. They put fear out there. They create an illusion that you believe. And so they brainwash you to believe that, hey, yeah, we got to. But you know what? if we, like I'm putting my trust and faith in God, you know, that is, if we did things differently instead of fighting back, how has that ever done any good in this world? Did it do any good? Absolutely not. I've talked to many military men, especially not women, but I've talked to a homeless man a while back, and he said, you know what? It was drilling in his head. He goes, you know what? All this time, I just don't understand why I did what I did. And they're beating themselves up. I met a man not too long ago. I was hoping that I would meet with him, but he's going through some stuff. He is like, the government's not helping him out. He's got a lot of problems. He wants to end his life. And he's got some kind of addictions now, and he's living with guilt every day because he killed a whole bunch of innocent people, and that's what he's got to live with every day. And so I do have family members that were in the military. I think it was the Marines, on my uncle's side of the family, well, my aunt's side of the family on my dad's side, where my uncle and my cousins, they were all in the military at one time in their life, and served, but they were all lied to. And so you can't trust those people that they there's people that when you sign that name, on there to join in to these, you're selling your soul out to, you're giving your life away, really. That's what you are doing. You sign that paper, you're government property. You don't own yourself. You don't like to take the COVID injection? Well, guess what? When you get signed in there, you don't have a choice. You're gonna take all this stuff that they give you. And I know my stepbrother, he was in the Army, and he went in there skinny and tall, and they put so much shit in his food. When I seen him a couple of years later, he like blew up like 2 times because they put these I'm trying to think of the name of this, but it makes them all big and puffy and muscle looking and stuff like that. But they really put that in their food, and they're aware of it. They actually let them know that they're putting that in their food. So those are people that you do not want to trust, is because they're being lied to. And there's a lot going on behind the scene there that they can play with your mind, psychologically in those places, and really mess you up in the head. And later on, I've talked to a lady that was actually in a service somewhere in Florida, and when I talked to her, she needed help emotionally because of all the stuff that she went through in the military. And you know what, the military people, whatever force she went into, they were acting like you don't have a problem. They weren't even there to help them out emotionally at all, to help them out with their needs. They acted like you don't need any help. There's nothing wrong with you. But there was definitely something, she was going through some shit. So the other thing is police departments. Yeah, I know. A lot of people don't trust police departments. And not all police officers are bad. There's a war going on. We are in a spiritual war, and this goes with everything that I'm going to talk about. So with the police department, if you don't know your law, you're screwed. They play us, a lot of them do. They play us. There's a lot of dark forces in there, dark energies out in the police force. They get around a lot of negative energy when they're going out and arresting a lot of people that are guilty of a lot of crimes, and so if they don't meditate and all that, they are like a, it's really bad, but they're like a magnet to all these negative energies and dark entities, so it definitely can overtake them, and and one rotten apple spoils the whole bunch. So I did meet a lady that actually does meditate before she goes to work, so that is a good way to protect them out there. And I'm not saying all police officers are evil or wicked or dark forces, but there is a lot out there, and it's hard to say who to really trust when it comes to the police department, because they're supposed to be here, but they are under a program just like everybody else on my list here, is that they have certain things that they have to go by. And if you don't know the law when you are dealing with an officer, they are actors and actresses. You got that right. I've dealt with this many times. They will feel you out and see whether you know something or not. And if you don't know something, if you don't know your rights, if you don't know the laws, guess what? You're screwed. You are screwed. So you better know, like what you're getting yourself into when it comes to the law. And doctors, same thing. Not all doctors are evil and bad, or just out for the money and out just to get you all medicated. Is doctors are under a program too. It's all through the government. The government controls all these people to control you and try to control me. So the doctors, if you have a problem wrong with you, and I do have an example a little bit, is a lot of doctors, when they find out you go in there, you don't know what's wrong with you. Of course, it's why you're going to the doctors, right? Hey, I got I got a problem and I don't know what's wrong with me and I need help. So you go in there, and then the doctor asks you a whole bunch of questions, to find out what's wrong with you. And then they find out what's wrong with you. And what does your doctor do first thing? Sometimes they have you go for different testings, blood results and all that. But when it narrows it down, when they finally find out what is wrong with you, a lot of time, no matter what it is, it's medication. And you got to be careful. You ought to research and find out, like when they are prescribing you a medication, try to find out, Google it somehow or another, is that a medication on stocks? Are people, making money on stocks with that certain medication? And that could be a really good reason why your doctor is trying to prescribe that particular medication to you, is because they can make money. Everybody, everybody's making money. The pharmacy's making money, the doctor's making money, the hospital's making money, and you're getting the side effects. And you don't even know do you even need, every time I've had a doctor, first thing they want to tell me about a medication. And then I go home and I think about what they all said, and then I research, and then I'm thinking, is there another way to help me out? Oh, and then they tell me, oh, okay, I don't want to take, medication, and I'm not going to use who I was going to use, but I don't want to take a medication because I'm constipated. People need to hear the truth, and doctors shouldn't be afraid to be honest with their patients and say, you got to stop eating this stuff. If you keep on eating this stuff, or maybe you're not getting enough water, or you're eating too much of this or that, you need to have balance, like broccoli and all this stuff, so you can actually go number 2 without having a problem. But medication shouldn't be the first thing that they throw at you. They need to educate you, give the paperwork, and all this, or even like little short videos that you can watch, here, go on here, this will educate you, because I understand they only have a certain amount of time, in the office with you, and they got to get another, and that's a big, huge problem with doctors, and I hear it everywhere. They don't take enough time with their patients to understand them, so that I've heard that one over and over again, is that because they have so many other patients that they have, and they're trying to stuff them all in that one day, all this, so many minutes for each patient. So, and every patient that they're dealing with is different. Some of these patients, like my mom, don't have an education where, you could be there a long time, because, her way of thinking, you really need to get to know your patients better before you prescribe things. And prescribing things should not be the first thing a doctor should do, but they are under that program, and it's a big money-making process. Hospitals are the same thing as doctors. Is that I got stories on my YouTube channel about some crazy shit that has happened in a hospital, real time. No, it was a horror movie, of real things that really happened to Starlight. So they are programmed too. Unless a doctor opens up his own office and cuts the government out of it and has the money to be able to do all the stuff on his or her own, they're more than likely the kind of doctors you could trust. But it's when the government gets their hands in there, then they're being controlled by the government. So you got to watch out for this. And I do want to bring this up really quick. Is this guy actually I talked to yesterday? He actually told me something I only witnessed myself, but she wasn't a doctor. Is that he told me that he went and we were talking about COVID. And this was kind of interesting how the universe did this, is because I didn't realize there's people behind me, and I'm talking to this guy, and he wasn't really educated. So it was kind of funny how the universe does this. So he had a lot of questions, just like a child or a teenager or a young person would ask. So I didn't really realize, I wish I stayed there longer, is that because they seemed like really not like it was kind of like a child asking me questions. But it was kind of cool how it was happening, because I didn't realize there was people behind me, and I'm standing up, and I'm not being quiet about what I'm saying. I'm just talking my regular voice, and not being afraid of what anybody thought about what I was talking about. And so we're talking about COVID. And so he asked me, I love this. I would love to do interviews like this, is to have people to ask me questions and I just answer it, right on a video. So he was asking me questions. He's like, yeah, well, he was letting me know that he did take a couple of those injections with the COVID, but he had health problems. And I was telling him how they put that fear all over on the media, on the news, to get everybody afraid, and there's people that have sicknesses or illnesses, and they put that fear out there because they were noticing that people that could have had health problems where they might not survive COVID. And my whole point is, if it's today your day, it's your day. It doesn't have to be COVID taking you out of here. It could be a car accident or some crazy thing that could happen to you. So all of us have a certain, God's already got it on a calendar somewhere, like Starlight. How long is Starlight going to be here? Well, God's already got it figured out when I'm going to be out of here, and God's already got it figured out how, what is it going to, what's going to take me out of here? How am I going to die? It's already been, it's been written. Okay. It's been written. It's already been written. It's already been done. It's already been out there. God already has it all planned. So I shouldn't fear of when it's going to happen. And that's what they did with the news, is to get people scared and afraid. But if it's not your time, it's not your time. But they put that fear out there. And what this guy was saying is that he said that his doctor asked him, because he told his doctor that he took a couple injections, and his doctor said, don't take any more. That's the first doctor. I said, wow, you have a honest doctor. He was, but a lot of doctors are afraid that they're going to lose their business if they are truthful. And so the puppet master has them and controls them and hey, if you tell those patients, the truth about this injection, because these doctors, if they're truthful, they're going to know really, really what's going on, but they don't want to lose that income. They don't want to lose their position as a doctor. And that's why a lot of people fear, and they lie to their patients and deceive them by trying to just get them into taking those injections. Okay, now go back to the pastors and preachers. Do you trust your pastor or preacher? And I've been talking to this guy yesterday morning, and then we were talking, and I was talking about how some people are asleep and some people are awake, and the things that we talked about, I'm thinking, what is your, I don't care what your church is doing, because a lot of churches will get government help to go and build and do these different things. They get money some way, from the government. And of course, if the government is giving them money, that means that they're in control. The government's controlling them and telling them what they can and cannot say to the congregation of the church. So they're being manipulated, and where they keep them locked into a box. So when I talked to this guy, I was thinking, the questions that he was asking me, I'm like, I don't care that this church is building a house for people, because if they're not preaching the word of God and teaching the people the truth, then they have no business being a pastor. They have no business having a church. But there's many cult churches out in the world that and then they text time, hey, yeah, we put all this money out there, and to build up a name for themselves to help people out. But if they're not talking the truth and helping you to grow and being real with you, then you're in a cult church. And that goes with women or men, so a lot of times, not all the times, it's pastors or preachers that don't want the government's help because they don't want the government to control what they can or can't do. So these are things that you got to watch out. And how about your parents? Have your parents been lying to you from a child from childhood on? There's some parents out there, they have been lied to, but not all parents are truthful in the first place. So you could have came from a family that are dishonest. Your mom could have been, or we'll switch that around. Your dad could be a very dishonest person, and your mom could be somewhat, most of the time, truthful, and you get together, now and this happens. Or it could be your mom that's very dishonest, and your dad actually tells the truth most of the time, but doesn't. So then these parents, they've been lied to, but then they're lying to their children. And, so if the children ask their parents, like when I was a kid, I was thinking, okay, I came from my mom and my dad, which I really didn't believe anyway. When I was a kid, I was trying to prove that they were not my parents. I thought, this is crazy. How did this happen? But so I was trying to prove who were my parents. And because I don't have a birth certificate. And it's kind of funny, I'm going through a background check right now, and I'm thinking, are they even going to find Starlight out there? Just kidding. So with this whole thing is, if you can't believe your parents, who can you trust, right? But when I was a kid, I was like, okay, I was trying to figure things out because I'm learning in school. I'm learning about this. They're teaching me different things in the school, and then they ask me questions, like your family tree. Okay, who was your mom and dad? Okay, my mom is this person, and my dad is, this is what his name is. And, well, what's your grandparents' name? I didn't get very far. I didn't even know my grandparents, not on my dad's side or my mom's side, and I asked my brother just recently, I'm like, do you even remember grandma? What do you know? I wanted to know some information about my grandma and grandpa because I don't remember as a kid. I only remembered my grandma as around the time that she was passing away. That's it, because she didn't have an education, and he goes, you know what? He's older than I am. He's 2 years older than I am. And it's really sad that he's like, I only met my grandma one time in his whole life. That's it. I don't even know. She had different men and she had like 15 kids without educations, like I don't know how many men that were dads to these kids, for that I know is 2 different fathers with all these kids. And then she had so many kids, they had to go in foster homes, so it's, what do you believe with your family? Do you believe everything they told you? Because believe it or not, a lot of families all of the families have been lied to. And if they taught you certain things, it could have been definitely a lie that they've been lied to about. So those kind of lies, you can't really get mad at your mom and dad if that's what they were taught. But if they're making up their own shit along the way, because I asked my parents when I was younger, I was trying to figure out this tree, or family tree, thinking, okay, like if I had a grandma, I didn't even know nothing about, I'd never seen them growing up. Even on my dad's side, who is my grandparents on? I don't know who they are. I guess I was with my grandfather at a certain time when I was a little kid. I don't even remember. I don't even know who the lady was. Never even knew nothing about her. So family histories, Starlight really struggled with family history growing up. So with that is, I was trying to figure out, okay, now where did my grandparents come from and their grandparents, like where did their parents and all this, all the way down to the, all the way down to the core of where we all came from. And my parents didn't have any answer. My dad didn't believe in God. My mom didn't go to church. They couldn't help me to figure out where did we all come from, so it is really important that, you find out who you are in this reality. And the other thing is, do you trust your family, which I was saying about that, and also friends, do you trust your friends? Are they always being honest with you? Because a true friend is going to tell you shit you don't want to hear. They're going to tell you, I got the greatest friend out there right now. I don't call him my best friend because I'm my best friend, but I have the greatest friend out there because he gets me upset. He gets me angry. He really tests me out. He challenges me. You know what? I need that. I need that kind of friend. That kind of friend is not going to beat around the bush and, tell me what I want to hear. And that's the kind of people that you want. It's not always going to be pretty. You're going to get mad and upset, but you know what? In the long run, is that you have more respect for that person that will tell you the truth and say, this is what you got to work on. This is, I love you, but these are things that you need to work on. I can mirror these things in you and see that this is something that you're struggling with and you need to work on these things. We need people like that. So you got to really ask yourself, are the people being honest with me? Even people with handicaps, they actually are being lied to a lot of times. They're actually being tricked and deceived. So, even people that are caring for handicapped people are being lied to. And there's a whole bunch more about even where you take your car to. Get a second opinion when it comes to, your doctors, the hospitals, research, what your pastor says, whatever your pastor says, you want to go to church. I'm not here to tell you not to go to church. I'm definitely not here to try to get you into church, is that you need to research, if you're just sitting in the pew and just being like a sponge, absorbing everything that your pastor or your preacher or the school system tells you, if you're just absorbing all what they tell you, and you never go out to research any of the shit they tell you, it's your own fault if you find yourself lost later on in life because you're not taking the time out to question what you've been taught. And I had to learn that myself, so I'm talking to myself. So anyway, I know this video is long. I had to do this. I love you so much. I really hope you get a lot of help from this video. You could give this video a thumbs up. You can leave a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. I gotta look at the time here. 1:45. Ooh, I'm actually I'm good. I'm sorry. So you can give this video a thumbs up. You can subscribe. You can also leave me a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. And you could share my videos. Let me see. You could share my videos with a family, a friend, a parrot, and a tiger. Plus, you can also, don't forget the notification bell, and you can also check out my playlist. Plus, you can follow me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight or on Facebook, and that's Kathy with a K, Dingman Starlight. I love you all. This is a lot impact in here. And if you got any questions, please reach out to me on my YouTube or like Instagram is tough for me because I don't have that on my phone, and right now I don't have data on my phone. But I love you so much. Really question. If you're out there, you're not sure if somebody's being honest with you. There's somebody out there I love that watches my YouTube channel. Yes, research what they tell you. If you don't know what is right or wrong, go on Google or YouTube, and look up for videos to find out if they're being real with you. You don't want to live your whole life a lie, and that's exactly that is what's going on with many people in the world, is that they're living a lie and they're not even aware of it. They are believing it. You need to get out of the box and start questioning stuff. Don't be afraid. Don't listen to these people that try to plant fear in your head and try to scare you and try to get you afraid. No, you need to get out of the box and ask, study, research. And anyway, I love you. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight, Love, Light, and